All right, so hi everyone, good evening. Welcome to this session on who's a real hacker, and we are going to bust some myths about hacking today. Okay, and we are also going to find out what hackers do, what kind of certifications do you need if you want to become a hacker. Was not a bad one, actually, when you work as a good guy, right? So that is what we are going to do today. All right. So let's just wait for a minute or two so that others can join in, right? And we can start. Okay. So let me ask you guys before we start our session. What do you think? Who do you think a hacker is, guys? Yes, Nan, Gopi, and others watching on YouTube. What do you think a hacker is? Any idea? What's the difference? Yes, Nan. Please go ahead.
I think the hackers are the ones who want to destroy your assets, that sort of thing.
Right. And they could be using any sort of technique to do this, right?
Yes, correct. So they would try to access your networking or by different means sending you, like invite, then disclosing your information, farming, um,
Farming,
phishing. Yep.
phishing,
Yep.
malware,
Quite malware, all those. Yep.
right? All
And
right, all right. Yep, that is what we're going to talk about today. Cool. Thank you. Thank you for uh, telling me. All right, so we are going to get started now, and I would like, everyone that is watching this session on YouTube, everyone who has joined this session on Zoom, I would like you to, ask me as many questions as you feel like, and I'll make sure that I deliver this session in both, uh, you know, Hindi as well as English, so that if anyone has doubts, they can ask me. You guys can ask me. जो भी question आप मेरे से पूछ सकते हो. Okay. Anything related to your career, anything related to cyber security, because we are going to have more of these sessions in our, in the upcoming weeks. We'll have at least 2 to 3 sessions per week, so that you guys get to know about what cyber security is in real. Okay. Now the reason we started with this particular session is because a lot of people still don't know what hacking is. सबको यही लगता है that जब भी हम cyber security की बात करते हैं, whenever we talk about cyber security, the thing that it is hacking, nothing else, right? So I want to talk about what hacking is here. How does it work? Okay. And what will you do as someone who's a cyber security enthusiast? So सबसे पहली बात करते हैं हम hacking की. So what is hacking? Hacking जो term है, that is actually a slang term. Okay, it's not a professional term that you will use, right? Hacking is basically the act of gaining access into systems. Okay. What did I say? Hacking is the act of gaining access into the systems, right? But when you talk about pen testing is also the act of gaining access into the systems. Now, what is the difference? Where is the difference? The difference is how you gain access. So when you're doing this for your own good, अगर आप अपने लिए कर रहे हो, अगर आप hack कर रहे हो कोई system, ठीक है, you are gaining an unauthorized access, you are stealing data, you are, modifying data, you are trying to perform a DOS attack. अगर आप ये सारी चीजें कर रहे हो जिससे उनका सिस्टम ना काम कर पाए, so that उनका जो business है impact हो जाए, so that if you try to do such things, their business gets impacted. That is what hacking is. When we talk about pen testing is an actual job role. Okay. So when people say that they want to learn hacking, okay, it's actually that they want to learn pen testing. So what is pen testing? Pen testing is emulation of the same stuff that a hacker will do, but you are doing this in order to protect your organization or protect your client. Okay, so that is what pen testing is. And along with pen testing, we use one more term called red teaming that I will talk about in the uh, in a few minutes or in our upcoming sessions as well. So any questions related to this, what hacking is, or do you want to add something more here? कोई यहाँ पे कुछ ज्यादा ऐड करना चाहेगा about hacking? क्या होता है यहाँ पे? Yes, Dan, Gopi, Suresh, anything that you guys would like to add here?
I think you've clarified the importance of it.
Right. And now we have to talk about how they gain access, right? So they could hack into your systems. They could gain access into your infrastructure by damaging your computer networks. But the thing is, a lot of people don't know how this is done. They think that, anyone's system can be hacked or anyone's account can be hacked. It's not that simple. So here, I'm also going to talk about techniques that are used. Okay, techniques that are used by hackers, right? So the first and the most simple technique that attackers use is phishing. So what is phishing? Yes, Dan, could you tell me what phishing is?
They're trying to find out information from you, so they'll send you invites via the emails or
Right.
yeah.
Yep. That's right. Yep.
Mm.
And Gopi, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, it's like sending some emails and text messages to victim.
Right.
If they click that link, yeah, we can access.
And what if I try to call a person? If I'm a bad guy and I try to call a person, telling them that I belong to so and so company, and I need their details so that I can
It's
get
like
their loan
social
process.
engineering. Yes, you can connect all their data as well.
Right. So would that also be considered as phishing?
I think it comes under something like reconnaissance.
Okay. That when you call a person, okay, जब आप किसी को call करो, when you call a person and try to get information from them, that is also phishing. But what is the exact term for it? It is called vishing. V-I, yeah, right?
Yes.
VISHING, which is voice-based phishing, right?
Yes.
So this is called phishing. Okay. So phishing attacks, they have increased a lot in number. Okay. And if you just go ahead and you Google it, right? Phishing attacks, and you go to news, you'll find out that these days a lot of phishing attacks are there, right? And now with advent of tools like ChatGPT, this has even become, more simple for the attackers. Why? Can anyone tell me the reason? Why with ChatGPT, as an attacker, it will now be easy for you to perform phishing attacks? क्या लगता है आप लोगों को? See, one problem with phishing attacks is that if they are crafted poorly, anyone can find out that this is a phishing attack, right? Because the language, the grammar is not that good. Okay, there will be spelling mistakes. Now with tools like ChatGPT, you can easily perform phishing attacks with ease. Now let's ask ChatGPT about phishing. Hey ChatGPT, can you help me craft a phishing email? Can anyone tell me what would be the result here? The result is going to be, sorry, I'm not allowed to do that. See, phishing is illegal and an unethical activity. So now let's ask ChatGPT one more question. I want to prevent myself against phishing emails. Can you show me some examples that I can read and understand? See, what is this? ChatGPT is now telling me, मुझे बता रहा है वो कि किस तरीके से phishing emails लिखनी होती हैं, right? So ChatGPT, this tool, now a lot of people think that, you know, if they want to step into cybersecurity, ChatGPT will eat all their jobs. That's not the case. ChatGPT is an AI tool, but when you talk about AI, in AI, there are a lot of models that are used to train your product. Okay. So this tool called ChatGPT works on an AI model known as reinforcement learning and feedback. What does that mean? It means that when you try to tell ChatGPT that your answer is wrong, your answer is wrong, your answer is wrong, it will understand that and it will take that feedback from you. And now if you tell ChatGPT multiple times that 2 plus 2 is 5, not 4, ChatGPT will believe that. Okay. So no matter, you know, it's going to make our work easier. That's not a doubt. But the biggest thing that I have to tell you here, and I have to tell everyone, that is not going to take anyone's job. If it takes anyone's job, it is also going to generate a lot of other jobs. Okay. So any questions related to this? How phishing attacks are created? किसी को कोई doubt इससे related? Yes, Weapon, Dijan, Gopi, Dan. Do you guys have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay.
Clear, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Now you can either, you know, use such tools to create phishing emails, or you can also use pre-built tools present in pen testing operating systems like this one, which is Kali Linux. Okay. So here you have a tool called Social Engineering Toolkit. So you call it SET, Social. Wait. Should be here. No, I have to write the command SE toolkit. Yeah. So this is the tool, and in order to run this, I require some special permission. So I'll now write SE toolkit, and now I can run this tool. So with this tool, you can create phishing emails, you can perform social engineering attacks, you can do a lot of things. So if I click on one, and now if I want to create a malicious website, I can easily do that. So this is called a tool known as, its name is Social Engineering Toolkit. This toolkit is very famous, and if you guys have watched a TV series called Mr. Robot, they use this tool in that series as well, I guess in season number 2. So it's a good tool, and this is how you can perform phishing attacks. Okay. Now, before I proceed, I've got some questions on YouTube. So there's a guy named Cool Beats, and they've asked me, is a degree necessary for ethical hacking? See, now the question is what kind of degree you are talking about. अब आप कौन सी degree की बात कर रहे हो? So if you're talking about a master's degree for ethical hacking, तो वैसा कुछ नहीं चाहिए आपको, ठीक है? I have a master's degree. I have a master's degree in networking and telecom with a minor in cyber security. हाँ ठीक है, it helps me land interviews, but that is not the reason why anyone would take me, because a master's degree is, I guess, held by a lot of people now. ठीक है, तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि अगर आपके पास मास्टर्स डिग्री नहीं है तो आप हैकिंग नहीं कर सकते. You can do that. For ethical hacking, even if you have a normal graduation degree and you have the required knowledge and skills, you can easily break into this field. आप easily इस job domain में जा सकते हो. But the problem is, ठीक है, a lot of people don't know who hackers are, what kind of work they do. So people still think that the work done by them, by hackers, involves working with tools. उनको यही लगता है कि बस tools के साथ काम करना है, and that is it. But because of this approach, ये जो ethical hacking domain है, जिसको हम बोलेंगे pen testing, professionally जिसको हम pen testing बोलेंगे, ये बहुत ज़्यादा saturate हो गई है. Okay, it is now saturated. The reason is there are a lot of people who want to go into this domain, and उसका भी क्या reason है? उसका reason ये है कि because it's interesting. So every time you hear this term hacking, you get interested, you get excited, you want to learn more and more about it. But what people do is people start with courses, people start with certifications, they take up basic certifications, but they don't move ahead. I'll explain hota kya in real world scenarios. Okay, I'll talk about that as well in detail. So how can you perform phishing attacks? You can perform phishing attacks using such tools, and AI tools can help you out. How? They can help you out in correcting those spelling mistakes or the grammatical errors that you are going to make. So वो उस काम में आपको help करेंगे. उसके बाद let's talk about password attacks. अब ये password attacks क्या चीजें हैं? Can anyone tell me about password attacks? Yes, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, can anyone tell me what a password attack is? And those of you who have connected with me on Zoom, can you tell me what a password attack is? क्या होगा इस अटैक में?
बुलेट फोर्स अटैक हो सकता है सर. एक वर्ड फाइल क्रिएट करके अटैक कर सकते हैं.
Okay, and any tool जिसके बारे में आपको पता है जो आपने कभी यूज किया?
कौन सा टूल था?
I've written it here. Hydra.
हाइड्रा नहीं.
Hydra नहीं. John the Ripper. किस टूल के बारे में आप सोच रहे हो? Which tool are you thinking about? Okay, no worries. I'll talk about these major tools, and Fir, you can tell me about the other tools that you're thinking about. Okay. So yes, Tariq, cracking passwords. So when you talk about password-based attacks, here you're going to crack passwords. Yes, Pedam, like a brute force attack. Exactly. Okay. Now the thing is, tools use करने सबको आते हैं. Everyone knows how to use these tools. But when it comes to figuring out how these tools work, a lot of people don't know about that. So whenever you have to perform a password attack, for example, let's talk about cracking my password. Okay, let's try to crack my password. Not in reality, virtually. Okay. So this is my username. It is Adhirath. Okay. And now I have an account on a website called abc.com. abc.com. Okay. The website does not have that mechanism. where after 5 incorrect login attempts, they will block my account. ऐसा नहीं है. So you can try as many times as you want. So in a real world scenario, what will you do? You will try to check the following things. You can check my Facebook, you can check my LinkedIn, you can check my Twitter, you can check my other accounts. And वहाँ से you can try to find out what I like, what my hobbies are, and then you can accordingly prepare a small list, also known as a word list. And then you will check each of these words with my username and try to find out whether the credentials are right or not. This is what you can do, right? But there is one more thing that you can perform here, or you can use here. There are pre-written word lists. पहले से बनी हुई word lists होती हैं, ठीक है? So जब भी, whenever your data gets breached, now when I say your data gets breached, I'm not talking about a specific person. मैं एक बंदे की बात नहीं कर रहा यहाँ पे. मैं बात कर रहा हूँ, आपने किसी वेबसाइट पे अकाउंट बनाया एंड वहां से क्या हुआ, उस वेबसाइट का डेटाबेस ब्रीच हो गया. So what will you do in such scenarios? And how do you find out whether your data was found in a breach or not? ये बहुत important चीज है यहाँ पे. So for this, what you can do is you can go to a website called haveibeenpwned.com. What is the name of the website? haveibeenpwned.com. Now, when you go to this website, you are going to find a lot of information. For example, I'm going to add my email address here. So this is my email address, and I'm going to find out whether my email or my phone number was found in a data breach or not. उससे क्या होगा? उससे I will try to take some decisions. So when I use my email here and I try to find out, I can see the results. So I had an account on Big Basket, I had an account on Sheg, and I had my accounts on different websites. So what happened was these websites suffered a data breach. Now, data breach kaise hua? Maybe the attacker gained access into their infrastructure and from there started stealing data. Or the attacker would have performed an SQL injection, and from there they could get all the details of their database. So there can be multiple ways. मतलब अगर मैं बोलूं कि सिर्फ एक तरीके से आपका अटैक होगा तो ऐसा नहीं है. जैसे लोग बोल देते हैं कि whenever they talk about attacks, तो they should be talking about web-based attacks. बहुत सी websites में when you talk about attacks related to websites, they just write SQL injection. SQL injection is one of the web-based attacks. Okay, there are a lot of attack types, especially in web application pen testing or web application hacking. So after your data gets breached, what happens with it? This data goes to the dark web. It does not go by itself. खुद से नहीं जाएगा. The attackers will first issue a ultimatum to the company to pay them some money, okay, to give them the ransom amount. If they don't give the ransom amount, they will post this data on dark web forums. Dark web forums mein there will be bidding of this data. Bigger the company, okay, more is its reputation, and if they suffer a data breach, what is going to happen? People are going to pay a lot of money for that data. Okay, not us as regular individuals, the bad guys. So वो क्या करेंगे? वो उस डेटा को खरीदेंगे and उनकी word lists बनाएंगे. And उन word lists के through, what are they going to do? They are going to perform attacks. They are going to perform brute forcing attacks. So there are multiple tools for brute forcing attacks. You have John the Ripper. Yes, the other one that you mentioned, Vipin, is Hashcat. Along with Hashcat, there is one more tool called Hydra. So these are popular tools for brute forcing, but then you can use other tools as well. ये हैं वो tools जो काफी popular हैं. Okay, so जब ये data गया किसके पास, when this data is on the dark web and attackers purchase this data, they'll create word lists. Now अगर किसी ने Kali Linux use किया, if anyone has used Kali Linux, there is a file present in Kali Linux known as rockq.txt. Does anyone know what this file is about? rockq.txt. क्या होता है इस फाइल से? What do we do with this txt file? Any idea, guys? Domino's Pizza का भी data breach हुआ था, right? I'm asking ये tool क्या करता है? What does this file? No, it's not a tool, it's a file. rockq.txt. So ये जो rockq.txt है, rockq.txt is a word list. It's world's biggest word list. Right, Gagan. So it's not just for Wi-Fi, it can be used for other purposes as well. Right? So if I open this rockq.txt file, you can see a lot of usernames and passwords here. So it can be used for password attacks, cracking the passwords of Wi-Fi, cracking the passwords of user accounts on a website, cracking the accounts for Active Directory. So ये सब काम कर सकती है word list. Okay. Then what else do you do in hacking? So if you are a beginner and you take a course like CEH, okay, if you take a course like CEH, तो वहां पे आप easily ये सारी चीजें सीखोगे. Phishing, password attacks, social engineering, DOS attacks, web attacks, man in the middle, and you will see how malware works. Okay, but अगर आपको malware खुद बनाना है, if you want to create malware by yourself, first of all, that's a very important skill in your skill set. So as a pen tester, as a hacker, अगर आपको ये चीजें आती हैं, if you are able to create your own malware, it is going to be very good for you. ठीक है? Because you can get multiple jobs. You can get job as a security researcher. You can get job as a malware researcher. So let me go to LinkedIn and I will show you something here. So let's go to jobs. ठीक है? Now अब मैं क्या करूंगा यहाँ पे, मैं एक कीवर्ड यूज करूंगा यहाँ पे, which is malware. Malware as a keyword. ठीक है? So एक चीज आप सबको पता होनी चाहिए कि that when you're looking for jobs on platforms like LinkedIn, on platforms like Naukri.com, on platforms like Indeed, rather than searching for the job role, you can also search through a keyword. So अगर आप malware लिखते हो and you write remote, okay, so this is for cyber security trainer, this is for SOC manager, this is for senior security analyst. Now let's look at this one, senior software engineer, Windows engine. अब इस जॉब में आपको malware के बारे में कुछ नहीं लिखा है, ठीक है? इस जॉब में कुछ malware के बारे में नहीं लिखा है. There is nothing that has been mentioned related to malware. But if you carefully look at the job role, it will require you to be good with malware development or malware analysis. अब इसमें हो क्या रहा है? How did I find this out? So सबसे पहले तो जो कंपनी का नाम है, the company that you see here is, the name of the company is Sentinel-1. So Sentinel-1 is a very big company and इनका काम है incident response पे, malware analysis पे, and they make a lot of products, ठीक है, for cyber security. Now the job role here is senior software engineer, Windows Engine. Okay, senior software engineer, Windows Engine. Now, what do they want from you? 4 years of experience as a software developer, knowledge of C, C++, Windows kernel development experience, security-oriented development, reversing or malware analysis experience. So, ये specific job मैंने आपको क्यों बताया? ये specific job मैंने इसलिए बताया because here you are not going to work with a tool. You are going to create your own tools. You are going to create malware. You are going to analyze malware. So this is a very high-paying job. Okay. क्योंकि malware बने बनाए malware के साथ हर कोई काम कर सकता है. If I give you a tool, you can learn that tool in a few days or a few months. But when you have to create a tool of your own, when you have to create malware, that is not that easy. Because in that scenario, you will have to learn a little bit of C, a little bit of C++. Assembly language. Has anyone learned assembly language? किसी को पता है assembly language क्या चीज़ है? What is assembly language, guys? Does anyone know assembly language? अच्छा, have you guys studied microprocessor 8085, 8086? ये तो पढ़ा होगा सबने. Have you studied this subject, microprocessor 8085, 8086?
Yes.
Right, you have. Did you like that subject?
Yeah, I'm from EC background.
Oh, you're from EC background. But did your professors tell you what is the need of learning microprocessors?
I think these are being used in most of the computers.
Right.
In many places, microprocessor and microcontrollers.
Right. But did they tell you the significance of learning microprocessor 8085, 8086 in, you know, the modern era, like
No.
the 2010 decade? No, right?
Yes.
So microprocessing or my microprocessors 8085, 8086, Intel 80386, assembly language, ये कहाँ पे use होते हैं? Where are they used? They are used in firmware development. They are used in embedded systems, right? They are used for analyzing malware as well. When you get infected by a malware, how do you find out that you get infected? Maybe a file has been downloaded. Maybe there is something else that has been downloaded on your computer. It's just an executable file. In most of the cases, it's an executable file. But these days, malware is present in all shapes and forms. They can be present in the form of a docx file. They can be present in the form of some other file. Right? So when you have to analyze that executable, the language that you need to understand is the assembly language. Let me show you. So I write a very simple command here. obj dump space -d/bin/ls. अब ये जो ls है, what is ls? ls is a command in Linux. So when you write ls in Linux, you will be able to see the contents of the directory. Okay. What this tool is going to do, obj dump, it is going to show me the code of ls. So actually देखा जाए ls है तो command है, but Linux के हिसाब से it's a tool, right? It's a tool which helps us in doing what? It helps us in listing the contents of a directory. So if I write obj dump space -d/bin/ls, ये कुछ दिख रहा है हमें. We can see something happening on our screen. अब ये है क्या चीज है? This is assembly language code. Now you must be thinking कि हमें original code क्यों नहीं दिखा? Why could we not see the original code of this command? Because that's not possible. You can't straight away see the source code. That is not possible. Although developments have been made, there are now tools like Ghidra, there are now tools like IDA that can help you see this information. उससे आप ये सारी information देख सकते हो. But it's tough. Okay. So malware is now a major technique being used in hacking. Okay. And let me show you a website, a very popular website from where you can understand how malware works. Not from a defensive purpose, from a offensive purpose. So matlab, this is just to let you know. अब ये मत करना that you try to infect people's computers with this. So there is a website called VX Underground. It is the world's largest malware repository. Do you guys know that? किसी को पता था इस वेबसाइट के बारे में? ये दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी malware repository है. यहाँ पे you can find malware of all types. You can find Android malware. This is malware, real malware. You can find Linux malware. You can find Mac OS malware. You can find phishing tools. You can find Windows malware. You can find each and everything here. आपको यहाँ पे सब कुछ मिल जाएगा. किस तरीके से malware बनता है, कैसे बनेगा, उसकी इनके पास पूरी आर्काइव है. They have a complete malware collection, the biggest in the world. Biggest collection in the world. ठीक है? So if you have to create your malware, your own malware, what do you need? What kind of skills do you need? आपको आनी चाहिए programming languages. Okay, but अब now most of you will start thinking कि यार अब क्या करना है हमें? हमें तो programming आती नहीं. We don't know programming. So how are we supposed to make it in cyber security? ऐसा नहीं होता. You can still make it in cyber security. Right? You can still make it in cyber security. But once you have started your career in cyber security and you have to move forward, जब आपने आगे बढ़ना है cyber security में, तो आपको थोड़ी थोड़ी scripting skills आने चाहिए. Not right now. मैं ये नहीं बोल रहा हूँ कि अभी सीखो. But later on, you need to learn some skills. नहीं तो होगा क्या? You will be made redundant. Okay? You will be made redundant. Do you understand my point? So if you talk about other domains as well, so some of you come from networking background, some of you come from some of you have experience with cloud computing. अब networking में भी होता क्या है कि आपने CCNA सीखा, CCNP सीखा, CCI भी कर दिया. Great, you will have a very fruitful career. बट आजकल किस चीज का जमाना है? ट्रेडिशनल नेटवर्क्स तो कहीं नहीं जा रहे. ट्रेडिशनल नेटवर्क्स विल ऑलवेज बी देयर, बट ऑन टॉप ऑफ ट्रेडिशनल नेटवर्क्स व्हाट इज बीइंग बिल्ट? क्या बन रहा है? वर्चुअलाइज नेटवर्क्स. तो वर्चुअलाइज नेटवर्क्स के लिए भी आपको थोड़ा बहुत एसडीएन सीखना पड़ेगा. यू हैव टू लर्न अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ एसडीएन, यू हैव टू लर्न अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ स्क्रिप्टिंग. तभी जाके यू विल हैव अ रियली ग्रेट करियर इन नेटवर्किंग डोमेन, है ना? सो इसीलिए साइबर सिक्योरिटी में एंटर करने के लिए, टू एंटर इन साइबर सिक्योरिटी, यू डोंट नीड अ प्रोग्रामिंग, यू डोंट नीड any programming language knowledge. But later on, in order to sustain yourself, to get a high paying job, okay, when you need to get a hike or when you need to switch into other subdomains of cyber security, तब आपको ये करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है? Then comes social engineering. So when we talk about social engineering, what kind of attacks can we include here? Yes, any idea, guys? Social engineering attacks.
हेलो सर. फिशिंग अटैक.
ओके, फिशिंग अटैक हो गया. और कुछ?
मालवेयर अटैक.
Malware is not social engineering.
Okay. Commerce.
So when we talk about social engineering है क्या? Basically, it's not just a technical attack. It also includes the human touch. Human touch क्या है कि देखो, if you have to make a fool out of someone, you cannot just use a tool to do that. आप सिर्फ एक tool use करके किसी को बेवकूफ नहीं बना सकते. What you need to do is you need to add something called a pretext. Now, if you get a phone call from a guy, okay, telling you that no, you lost this and this amount, so you need to, and that person is from your बैंक, ओके, वो बता रहा है आपको कि वो बैंक से है, एंड उसने आपको बता दिया कि वो बैंक से है, एंड फिर आप क्या बोलोगे? वो बोलेगा आपको कि ये डिटेल्स बताओ एंड दे विल हेल्प यू आउट. आप पहले ही बोल दोगे यार ये मेरे को बेवकूफ बना रहा है. बट व्हेन अ फीमेल कॉल्स यू, आई एम नॉट आई एम नॉट criticizing any gender, I'm not saying anything offensive about any gender, I'm just talking about how social engineering works. ठीक है? When we have to include something called a pretext, वो pretext कैसे आएगा अच्छे से? If someone calls you, sounds very affirmative or sounds very panicky, तो तब जाके when you get a call, you might even give your details, right? तो आप अपनी details दे भी दोगे. ऐसा क्यों? Because social engineering requires a human touch. अब जैसे Pelham has written here, things you know about a person and their habits. So social engineering में basically we need to know the art of manipulation. Manipulation in such a way that we get the other person to give all the details to us. So that's called social engineering. जो phishing attacks हैं, phishing attacks भी तो social engineering की type ही है. How? When we talk about social engineering, we are sending an email, okay, or we are sending a text message to someone. Now, do they fall for that attack or not? That depends on how good our email is, how urgent it sounds, how urgent our phone call is, what kind of words we have used. So that is a social engineering attack. ठीक है? So social engineering attacks से बचने के लिए what can we do? Can anyone tell me what we can do if we have to protect ourselves against these attacks? So if we have to protect ourselves against these attacks, we need to go through security awareness trainings. We need to maintain a good cyber hygiene. कि ऐसे ही नहीं कि कोई भी आ गया उसको अपनी details दे दी. Okay, so you need to make sure that you don't fall for such attacks. So इसके लिए you can go to the internet, you can search for security awareness trainings. Security awareness trainings. And such kind of trainings are delivered in every organization. So if you go to YouTube, you can find out what security awareness training is. How can you understand? How can you figure out the different types of attacks that are performed? Okay, and आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा उसके लिए? So this is how you can prevent yourself from social engineering attacks. Then you've got DOS attacks. So DOS attack का क्या मतलब है? Denial of service. It's not about stealing data. It's about making sure that a business loses. Okay. It's about making sure that a business loses a lot of money so that it cannot cater to its customers. उसके customer base ही खत्म हो जाए. So DOS attack कैसे हो गया? अब DOS attack, how can we do DOS attacks? DOS attacks का मतलब है कि if let's say there is a sale going on Flipkart, and I work for a rival company. मैं क्या चाहता हूँ My product is not so good, my website is not so good, so I know that people will prefer Flipkart, not my website. So what am I going to do here? I am going to use tools like hping3. So there is a tool called hping3. अब ये जो टूल है ये क्या करता है, इसके थ्रू you can easily create packets, you can craft packets for DOS attacks. Or if you don't want to use this, you can use an automated framework called Metasploit, MSF console, to perform DOS attacks. Or you can write your own scripts. Okay, you can write your own scripts. So there is a tool for writing scripts, जिसके through you can perform DOS or DDoS attacks. There's a tool written in Python called Scapy, SCAPY. With this, what you can do is you can forge packets, you can send multiple packets, you can do a lot of things using this tool, Scapy. ठीक है, you can perform firewall evasion as well. कि अगर कोई सामने firewall है तो आप क्या कर सकते हो? You can even evade that and get inside the infrastructure. So with tools like these, you can perform DOS attacks. Okay, so this is MSF console. Let it open up and I'll show you कि क्या करता है ये. So यहाँ पे हमारे पास बहुत सारे DOS के modules हैं. So what is a module? Module is basically a set of scripts written in Metasploit framework जिससे आप अपना काम कर सकते हो. You can see a lot of DOS modules present here. ठीक है, Linux DOS, DNS DOS, SCADA DOS. So what is SCADA? SCADA is basically OT, operational technology. So अब operational technology जो हमारे पास industrial control systems होते हैं, वहां पे किस तरीके से हम DOS attacks करके उनका पूरा business ही रोकते हैं, that is DOS. Okay, और उसमें क्या होगा हमारे पास, उससे we can make sure कि उनका जो पूरा का पूरा business है वो खत्म ही हो जाए, क्योंकि वो अपने clients को cater ही नहीं कर पा रहे. So that also comes under DOS. So this is one of the techniques that attackers use. And then comes web attacks. Now, attacks is just a category. Okay, web attacks is just a category. इसके अंदर हमारे पास बहुत सारे attacks आ जाएंगे. So इसके लिए you should be knowing about a website called OVAS. So what is OVAS, guys? Can anyone tell me OVAS? Okay, I'll tell you. OVASP is short for Open Web Application Security Project. ठीक है, so OVASP में क्या होता है? OVASP में एक नॉन प्रॉफिट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन आई है, एंड इस नॉन प्रॉफिट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का क्या काम है? इट हैज बीन एक्टिव सिंस 2003. सो विद इन अ टाइम पीरियड ऑफ 3 to 4 years, ये क्या करेंगे? दे विल कंडक्ट सर्वेस of from for different organizations all across the world, and they will ask their security engineers कि आपकी जो organization है, in your organization what kind of attacks have happened, or what kind of attempts were performed so as to bring down your infrastructure or bring down your website. So companies would tell them that, okay, this, if I'm working for a company, I would tell these survey guys that I suffered an SQL injection attack and the data was breached, or someone tried to perform a cross-site scripting attack, but my web application firewall stopped it. ठीक है, तो ये वेब अटैक्स जो हैं ये कौन कौन से हैं, तो इसके बारे में अगर आपको पता करना है, सो यू गो टू ovas.org, गो टू OVAS टॉप 10, एंड OVAS टॉप 10 में आपको पता चल जाएगा कि कौन कौन से मेजर सिक्योरिटी आपके पास रिस्क्स हैं, कौन कौन से मेजर वेब अटैक्स आते हैं। अब नाउ इफ यू लुक एट 2017 एंड 2021 हियर, इनमें क्या फर्क है? So the difference here is the following. When survey was done from 2013 to 2016, a list of attacks was created, okay? And based on the impact of the attacks and how many companies suffered those attacks, based on their frequency, they were arranged in the following order. So as you can see, 2017 mein, the injection attacks were at number 1 because फ्रॉम दैट टाइम पीरियड 2013 टू 2016 जब सर्वे किए गए तब पता लगाया गया कि इंजेक्शन जो अटैक है उसने सबसे ज्यादा क्या किया है, उसने सबसे ज्यादा इम्पैक्ट है उसका, और सबसे ज्यादा बार यही अटैक परफॉर्म किया हुआ है। बट इन 2021 में क्या हुआ, जब 2017 से 2020 के बीच में हम आए, वहां पे देखा गया कि ब्रोकन एक्सेस कंट्रोल सबसे बड़ा अटैक है, ठीक है, सबसे ज्यादा बार ये परफॉर्म किया है। सो दिस इज व्हाट हैपेंड, and this is the difference between OVAS top 10 2017 and OVAS top 10 2021. Now, how can you learn web security for free? This is discussed in detail in certifications like CEH. This is detailed. This is discussed in detail in certifications like Pentest Plus. But if you want to learn web app security by yourself, तो आप क्या कर सकते हो? So there is a really nice website called portswigger.net. सो वेन एवर यू परफॉर्म वेब एप्लीकेशन अटैक्स, वहां पे एक हम टूल यूज करते हैं जो जिसका नाम है बर्प स्वीट, अ वेरी पॉपुलर टूल। सो द सेम वेबसाइट हैज अ अकेडमी एज वेल, जिसमें यू डोंट हैव टू पे इवन अ सिंगल पेनी, ओके, यू डोंट हैव टू पे अ सिंगल पेनी। सो इस वेबसाइट का नाम है portswigger.net, और यहाँ इनकी जो अकेडमी है उसका नाम है वेब सिक्योरिटी अकेडमी। सो इफ यू गो टू वेब सिक्योरिटी अकेडमी, you can see that all the topics are discussed in detail, and इसमें अच्छे से आपको सारे वेब अटैक्स बताए जाएंगे, ओके, इसमें आपको अच्छे से सारे वेब अटैक्स बताए जाएंगे। So you can go through this website, create an account and learn all these vulnerabilities for free. So it's a very helpful website. Now let's talk about man in the middle attacks. So what are man in the middle attacks? Can anyone tell me?
It's like a person will be in the middle. Like for example, if any communication happens between any two devices, then they use applications like Wireshark in order to listen the traffic.
Exactly. So I was going to talk about Wireshark. Great. Okay. So what is going to happen in man in the middle attacks? So let's say two people are talking to each other, and I have an example for that. So in this example, what I did is I used Wireshark to capture conversation between two people. Okay. So let's say two people are talking to each other. दो लोग एक दूसरे से बात कर रहे हैं, मैंने बीच में Wireshark यूज किया। Wireshark यूज करने के बाद I can find out who they are talking to, what they are talking about, and using this tool called Wireshark, I can even get the audio. मतलब सिर्फ पैकेट्स ही नहीं दिख रहे हैं, I'm not just able to see the packets, I am able to see a lot of other information as well. If I want to find out कि ये किस बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, I can go to RTP streams, वहां जाके I can find out their audio conversation. So this is their audio conversation. So I can do all of this through Wireshark. ये सारे काम मैं Wireshark के through कर सकता हूँ. So Wireshark is such a great tool. Okay, Wireshark can help you do all of this. Now, these are some of the attacks, but these are some of the techniques that hackers use in order to hack systems. तो मैंने यहाँ पे क्या किया? I talked about these common attacks and I also talked about कि किस तरीके से इनको use कर सकते हैं. I gave some practical examples, right? And most of these techniques, except for malware development, can be learned by beginners as well. And इसका काफी scope है, right? इसका काफी ज़्यादा scope. Now let's talk about type of hackers and what kind of hacker you are going to become. Okay, so the first one is white hat hacker. So when you talk about white hat hackers, ये वो लोग हैं जो organizations के लिए काम करते हैं. These are the people who work for organizations as pen testers, as red teamers, and इनका काम क्या रहता है? इनका काम रहता है कि बचाना कंपनी को. बट कैसे बचाएंगे? उनको पहले हैक करेंगे एंड उनको बताएंगे दैट आपकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में, आपके इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में ये प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, आपकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में ये वीकनेसेस हैं, एंड नाउ व्हाट डू यू नीड टू डू? यू नीड टू पैच दीज वल्नरेबिलिटीज, यू नीड टू फिक्स दीज वल्नरेबिलिटीज. ओके, सो ये काम रहता है व्हाइट हैट हैकर्स का. दिस इज व्हाट व्हाइट हैट हैकर्स आर गोइंग टू डू. सो now when you talk about white hat hackers can work for companies as pen testers, they can work as security consultants, or they can also work as bug bounty hunters. So bug bounty hunters are freelance consultants. Okay, so just if I go to LinkedIn and we search for penetration tester, there are a lot of jobs for pen testing. Okay, let me search for it once again. So let's see कि यहाँ पे क्या करना है. This is a security engineer job role. इसमें तो कुछ इतना दिया नहीं है. Let's check more jobs. और let me search for on-site, remote and hybrid. सारे ही देखते हैं. Let me check. Yeah, let me remove all of the pen tester tools. Pen tester के किनारा क्या कोई मैंने गलती की है यहाँ पे? क्या इशू है? Let's see this one. Engineers, cyber application security. Okay. So this is also related to pen testing. ठीक है, जैसे कि क्या क्या qualifications होनी चाहिए यहाँ पे? They have written fall asleep dreaming of OVAS top 10. Okay. You should be able to write your own code. You should be good at maintenance of development and development of bug bounty programs. तो यहाँ पे उसके बारे में भी इन्होंने लिखा हुआ है. ठीक है. Then what else? कोई इनके पास डायरेक्ट रोल नहीं है जिसमें सिर्फ पेन टेस्टिंग करवानी है उन्होंने. Let me search for, instead of penetration tester, let me search for pen tester. So pen tester है, ये देखो, web app pen tester at Sony. क्या क्या आना चाहिए आपके पास, क्या क्या सर्टिफिकेशंस होनी चाहिए, वो देखते हैं हम. सर्टिफिकेशंस के बारे में तो उन्होंने लिखा नहीं है. They haven't mentioned the certifications here, but they have talked about hands-on pen testing skills, knowledge of web technologies, because this is related to web apps only. Knowledge of common pen testing tools like Burp Suite, Nessus, SQL Map, Nmap, Wireshark. knowledge of scripting knowledges, okay, scripting languages, knowledge of database systems, and that's it. साथ में a little bit of mobile application security is desirable. Okay, so I've got a question on YouTube from Mahum. What language is necessary to learn from beginning? देखो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि आपको कोई specific ही उठानी है, but most of the cases में if you pick up Python and you learn a little bit of Python scripting, it will be very good. ठीक है, because it can help you in a lot of things. It can help you automate your tasks. It can help you create tools. तो ये सब में आपको Python help कर सकती है. And उसके बाद depend करता है कि आप किस job role में हो. जैसे अगर आप हो malware analyst तो आपको फिर assembly language, C, C++, C Sharp, Golang ये सीखना पड़ेगा आपको. अगर हो आप एक ऐसे जॉब रोल में जैसे कि हमारे पास आ गया वेब ऐप पेन टेस्टर, तो आपको जावास्क्रिप्ट, PHP ये सीखना पड़ेगा. ठीक है, तो अगर आप इफ यू टॉक अबाउट लर्निंग अ लैंग्वेज फ्रॉम बिगिनिंग फॉर साइबर सिक्योरिटी, सो आई वुड सजेस्ट यू टू लर्न पाइथन. ठीक है, और ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको मतलब एक डेवलपर जितनी नॉलेज चाहिए, यू जस्ट नीड टू हैव बेसिक नॉलेज ऑफ पाइथन. तो अगर आप खुद से टूल नहीं भी देख सकते हो, इफ यू वांट टू फाइंड आउट हाउ दीज टूल्स वर्क, you can go to GitHub, and from GitHub you can get the code, clone the code and make changes to it. ठीक है, तो आप ये सब काम कर सकते हो अगर आपको एज अ बिगिनर करना है. ठीक है, अगर अब आप क्लाउड सिक्योरिटी में माहूम, तो उस सिनेरियो में आप डिपेंड करता है आप कौन से क्लाउड के साथ काम कर रहे हो. जैसे अब मैं आपको बताऊंगा एज्योर के साथ. तो एज्योर में अगर आपको कोई लैंग्वेज सीखनी है, तो उनकी एक क्वेरी लैंग्वेज है जिसका नाम है KQL, जिसको हम बोलते हैं कस्टो क्वेरी लैंग्वेज. तो जो एज्योर के ऊपर सिक्योरिटी टूल्स चलते हैं, जो उनका SIEM काम करता है, जिस SIEM का नाम है सेंटिनल. फॉर सेंटिनल you need to learn KQL. Okay, so that is going to be very helpful. Clear? So KQL अगर आप सीखते हो, if you're working with Azure cloud, then it's going to be extremely helpful for you. Then there's one more question: how much Kali Linux is necessary for cyber security? देखो, it's not about Kali Linux, it's about having knowledge of operating systems. अच्छे से अच्छे जो pen testers हैं, they can work with their own tools, they can create their own tools on Ubuntu as well. Okay, they can create their tools on Ubuntu as well. समझ आ रही है मेरी बात? Kali Linux क्या है, आपको पूरा Kali Linux नहीं आना चाहिए कि उसके सारे टूल्स आपको सीखने ही सीखने. You don't have to learn all the tools. You just need to know the basics of कर क्या रहे हैं ये टूल्स. अब जैसे यहाँ पे मेरे पास आ गया vulnerability analysis के लिए there is a tool called Legion. I have never worked with it. ठीक है, there is a tool called Skipfish. I have never worked with it. I worked with tools like SQL Map, WP Scan, Burp Suite. And when you talk about operating systems, इनको don't use them from the perspective of learning. Use them as your daily operating system. अगर आप इसको रोज चलाओगे, इस पे मूवीज देखो, इस पे गेम्स खेलो, इस ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम पे, लिनक्स पे, डू योर वर्क थ्रू लिनक्स, तो जो आपको प्रॉब्लम्स फेस करोगे, द प्रॉब्लम्स दैट यू आर गोइंग टू फेस इन लिनक्स, you will go to Google, figure them out, you will learn commands. This is how I learned Linux. नहीं तो if you want to learn Linux first, work as a system administrator and then move to cyber security, you can start from RHCSA and then take a certification like CEH. That is what you can do. Okay, that is what you can do. Okay, so after white hat hackers, what do we have? We have black hat hackers. So who are black hat hackers? Black hat hackers are the bad guys, actual attackers. जिनका काम क्या है? People who are going to steal your data, who are going to attack your devices, put ransomware on your computer. So they do it for a financial gain. उसके बाद है हमारे पास gray hat hackers. Okay, so who do you guys think are gray hat hackers? Any idea? Who are gray hat hackers?
सर
हम्म।
ग्रे हैट्स दोनों होते हैं ना, ब्लैक हैट और व्हाइट हैट, जो कंपनीज को प्रोटेक्ट भी करते हैं और सोशल वर्क भी करते हैं।
राइट, सो व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट ग्रे हैट हैकर्स, आपकी डेफिनेशन भी सही है, बट ग्रे हैट हैकर्स वो हैं जो बीच में आते हैं, मतलब यू डोंट रियली नो, ओके, दे यू डोंट रियली नो व्हाट देयर इंटेंशंस आर. Sometimes they are going to be very good bug bounty hunters, and sometimes if they don't get a good bounty from a website, they can leak that data on the dark web. So this can be an example of gray hat hackers. तो ये बोल हो गया gray hat hackers, ठीक है. Then उसके बाद आगे हमारे पास script kiddies. So initially when you start with cyber security, you start taking certifications like Security Plus, CEH. At this level, you are a beginner. So these certifications will take you from a beginner to intermediate level. ठीक है, तो ये करती क्या है कि they'll teach you how tools work. And initially, obviously, जब भी आप काम करोगे किसके साथ, जब भी आप काम करोगे इन टूल्स के साथ, तो आपको नई नई चीजें समझ आएंगी. इस टाइम पे अगर मैं आपको बोलूं, इस टाइम पे if I tell you that create your own tools, that will not be possible for you. You can't do that at this particular point because it's difficult. So initially, whenever someone starts out in cyber security, they are all known as script kiddies. So script kiddie कोई insult नहीं है. A lot of people think that if you're called out as a script kiddie, it's an insult. नहीं, starting में when you make a career in cyber security, you will always start out as a script kiddie. You will work with pre-written tools. Then you will go ahead and start automating your work. You will start creating your own tools. So जब आप वेबसाइट्स पे जाओगे, you go to multiple websites. हर वेबसाइट पे लिखा है that script kiddie कौन है. Script kiddie होते हैं जो beginners होते हैं, जिनको और कुछ नहीं आता, that don't know anything else. That is wrong. ये जो नई नई टर्म्स बनाई हैं, blue hat, green hat, yellow hat, that's just not right. ठीक है, those are just slang terms. Everyone or anyone who starts out as a beginner in cyber security and they move ahead, they work with tools initially, they are going to be known as script kiddies. Later on, when you start working with your own tools, when you start creating your own tools, that is when things will change. Okay, that is when you get good. That is when you get better at cyber security. Okay, so ये कोई गलत चीज नहीं है. आप जब शुरू करोगे साइबर सिक्योरिटी में, you will be at this level. उसके बाद आ जाते हैं हमारे पास, the next one is hacktivists. अब who are hacktivists? So hacktivists are the people or the hackers who are performing social work, like Vipin you mentioned. So जैसे right now in the world there are a lot of hacktivist groups, but one of them which is very popular, that is Anonymous. So have you guys heard of this group called Anonymous? So they expose government agencies, they expose celebrities all across the world. So what they are doing, they are hacking, but they're hacking for good. Okay, so ये हमारे white hat hackers नहीं है. They're not protecting an organization. They are telling everyone about the intent of the government or the intent of different people. So ये होते हैं hacktivists. And if you have watched that TV series called Mr. Robot, तो Mr. Robot में भी जो ग्रुप है वो एक्चुअली एक hacktivist ग्रुप था जिनका नाम था F Society. And finally you have state sponsored hackers. So state sponsored hackers, so इसमें क्या होता है, what do you mean by state sponsored hackers? So they say that there are attackers from China or there are attackers from Russia. Usually ये बोला जाता है. So basically they are sponsored by their government. They are training their certifications, everything is sponsored by their government. Do you guys know that? ये होते हैं state sponsored hackers. इनका motive क्या है? To attack different countries, to attack the infrastructure, the cyber security infrastructure of different countries and their governments. Listen, North Korea also has a lot of state sponsored hackers. If you want to find out ये state sponsored hackers कौन से हैं, so for that you can go to a website called MITRE Attack Framework. तो यहाँ पे एक चीज लिखी होगी ग्रुप्स, ओके, एंड यहाँ ग्रुप्स में आप देख सकते हो कि कौन कौन से ग्रुप्स हैं. जैसे दिस इज अ वियतनाम बेस्ड ग्रुप. ये तो एक नॉर्मल ग्रुप है, इट इज नॉट अ स्टेट स्पॉन्सर्ड ग्रुप. बट अगर मैं जाता हूँ और मैं यहाँ देखता हूँ APT1, तो APT1 को कौन स्पॉन्सर कर रहा है? चाइना की जो गवर्नमेंट है वो स्पॉन्सर कर रही है. ओके, तो देयर आर अ लॉट ऑफ अदर ग्रुप्स जो जिनको कौन स्पॉन्सर करती है? उनकी खुद की कंट्रीज, so that they can attack their neighboring countries or their rival countries. So ये रहते हैं हमारे पास क्या? These are the different types of hackers. Okay, now let's talk about the certifications that are required for hacking. This is the most important topic, and after this I'll start taking questions from all of you, so all of you can prepare your questions. If you have any, you can let me know. Okay, although we are also going to do a session in the upcoming weeks for a cyber security roadmap, but if you have any questions, you can let me know. So सबसे पहले whenever we talk about cyber security, we talk about hacking, जो सबसे पहली certification हमारे दिमाग में आती है, that is always OSCP. Okay, I'm not going to lie about it. सबके दिमाग में आती है OSCP. ठीक है, but the thing about OSCP is very hard to achieve. Not because of the syllabus. It's not because of the syllabus that it is hard to achieve. It's because of the cost factor associated with it. So when you talk about OSCP, do you guys know how expensive OSCP is? $1,500 to $2,000, and every year they keep on increasing their certification cost. So certification तो बहुत अच्छी है वो, ठीक है, nothing against it. It's a dream of a lot of people. Okay, I am also going to take OSCP in the future. The thing is that I don't want to take it out of my own pocket. I don't want to pay for it out of my own pocket. Because there is one thing called return on investment. So if the organization that I work for pays me for the certification, I'll definitely go ahead and take it. ठीक है, but खुद से अगर मैं $1,500 खर्चूं, ठीक है, and then I'm not able to pass the exam in the first go, I have to pay $150 additional, an additional amount to take the exam again. Thus, I have to pay for the lab access. Usually the lab access they give me is 30 to 90 days. If I want to increase it, I would like to increase it to 365 days. So वो वहां पे महंगा हो जाएगा, बहुत महंगा हो जाएगा, राइट? उसके बाद एक और जो हमारे पास सर्टिफिकेशन आती है, दैट इज कॉल्ड GPEN. So that is GIAC Certified Pen Tester from SANS. So what is SANS? अगर आपको SANS नहीं पता है तो SANS is world's biggest cyber security training provider, world's biggest and most expensive. इनका जो एक एक कोर्स है, इनका एक एक कोर्स जो आपके पास आता है वो कितने का आता है मैं आपको दिखाता हूँ. So the certification that I'm talking about is this one. This is the certification for GIAC GPEN. Okay, so if you look at this certification, इसकी अगर आप प्राइसिंग देखते हो, so इसकी प्राइसिंग है $8,275 USD. So if you are living in an एशिया पैसिफिक कंट्री, मतलब अगर आप एशिया पैसिफिक कॉन्टिनेंट जो हमारा सब कॉन्टिनेंट है उसमें अगर आप रह रहे हो एंड उस रीजन में अगर आप हो एंड यू वांट टू टेक दिस सर्टिफिकेशन, देयर आर हार्डली एनी कंपनीज दैट विल स्पॉन्सर यू फॉर इट. हैं, बट देयर आर दोस कंपनीज आर रेयर इन नंबर. ठीक है, if you are living in the United States, if you are living in Canada, if you are living in the United Kingdom, okay, then, or if you are living in the European countries, then your companies will sponsor you for such certifications. If you want to take it by yourself, तो आपको तो loan लेना पड़ेगा. Simple सी बात है. You have to take a loan. Okay. Or you have to at least pay this much money. इसकी जगह you can buy a car, a decent car or a decent bike. And after that, if you have to take the certification exam, you have to pay $949. So ये दोनों certifications बहुत अच्छी हैं. Nothing against them. The only con is the cost. The only con is the cost. Okay. Then you have certifications like Pentest Plus and CEH. Now, when you talk about these certifications, a lot of people will have, stuff against CH Practical. A lot of them will have stuff against Pentest Plus. But one thing that they will never talk about is that they're affordable. So they are as affordable as CCNA. CCNA सबसे पहली certification आती है किसमें? In your IT career. A lot of people take A+, a lot of people take CCNA. And the cost that you pay for CCNA or A+, कितनी है? 20 to 25,000 rupees INR. Or if you talk about their cost in dollars, so you will be paying something around $250 to $350, right? This is the amount that you are going to pay, right? So for such a meager amount, meager ऐसे तो नहीं है, because this amount is a lot. For a lot of people, this amount would be very high. But for when you talk about cyber security certifications, ये cost ऐसी है जो आप खरीद सकते हो, ठीक है? And most of the companies in the world, they will ask you for either an EC Council certification or a CompTIA certification. Why EC Council? Because EC Council has been there in the market for 17 years. CompTIA is a DoD compliant organization. DoD का क्या मतलब है? United States Department of Defense. उन्होंने इनको certify किया हुआ है CompTIA को किसके लिए? Certifications provide करने के लिए आगे. So these two vendors have a big name in the industry. Okay. Now when people say that CH is an exam, जिससे कुछ नहीं होगा, ऐसा नहीं होगा, you can, if you compare CH to OSCP, obviously OSCP will win. But it's like you're comparing Mahindra Thar with Jeep Wrangler. Jeep Wrangler is going to cost you 70 to 80 lakhs. Mahindra Thar is going to cost you 15 to 16 lakhs, right? It's like comparing a Skoda car with a McLaren car. Okay? You also have to think about the cost that you're spending. People will talk about CH mein ye nahi hai, CH mein wo nahi hai. So CH has two versions which people don't know about. Okay, CH has a theoretical version which is called V12 and it contains multiple choice questions. Yes, it does. But that's how the exam is structured. And then people could also say that CCNA has multiple choice questions. But the course curriculum, the course structure contains labs, contains practicals. So if you talk about CEH V12 or CH V11, when you enroll for the course for CH V12, you will get a lab. You will get a lab environment. Okay. This is something that you have to pay for, obviously. So you get a lab environment. And in this lab environment, you can see that you will get around 20 labs. And it's not just a single lab. It's a module. It's a lab module. And inside every lab module, there will be 5 to 6 labs. Small labs. Okay, bite-sized labs. Just like you have on platforms like Try, Hack Me, and Hack the Box. So, ये सब आपको मिलता है with CEH and CH practical. So CH practical की जब हम बात करते हैं, it's a 6-hour exam. ठीक है? So don't compare it to OSCP. It is a stepping stone for OSCP. मतलब आप CH practical जोगे, you will take a 6-hour exam. उसमें you will solve 20 hacking challenges in real world, ठीक है, for real world scenarios, and फिर जाके आप आगे क्या करोगे, फिर जाके आप आगे OSCP अपना पढ़ सकते हो, ठीक है. CH with training, with live classes, with lab access, how much is it going to cost you? It's going to cost you around 30 to 35,000 rupees. Okay. OSCP जिसमें आपको खुद ही पढ़ना है, जिसमें आपको खुद ही सारी चीजें करनी है, it's going to cost you around $1,500. Okay. So हाँ, end goal should always be OSCP. End goal should always be OSCP. Nothing against it. It is one of the most premier certifications. But if you are a beginner, straight away taking OSCP will be difficult for you, will be hard for you, and you will lose out on a lot of money. आप गलती करोगे, ठीक है? So when you talk about CEH practical is a very nice certification for ethical hacking, जिसके through आप अपना career start कर सकते हो. A lot of companies, a lot of recruiters are looking for candidates जिनके पास ये certification है. Yesterday I was talking to a few students जो बता रहे थे that उनके पास experience है. They worked with firewalls, they are working in SOC right now. They have worked with firewalls in the past, right now they are working with SIEM tools. अब वो क्या कर रहे हैं? They are trying to get a hike and they are trying to move into another company. So company ने यही बोला कि आपके पास सारी चीजें हैं, सब कुछ है, you have the knowledge, you have everything, but you don't have certifications. So which certification was the company asking for? They were asking for CEH. They could have asked for OSCP as well, but they know कि कैंडिडेट खुद से कितना पैसा खर्च सकता है, उस हिसाब से उनसे वो सर्टिफिकेशन मांगो. दैट इज व्हाई इफ यू सर्च फॉर CEH, and by the way, these are the labs that you get with EC Council's CEH, जिसमें you get access to 4 to 5 operating systems. ठीक है, ये आपको चीजें मिलेंगी. If you search for CH as a keyword, you can see that there are a lot of jobs. अब कैसे मुझे पता है कि CH है? ये देखो, cyber security threat research at Fortinet. What do they require? CEH. At Walmart in Bengaluru, which certifications they're asking for? They're asking for certifications like CISA, CEH is also here. Okay, it should be right here. यहाँ पे कहीं होगी, ठीक है. उसके बाद if you search for cyber security engineer at IDC in Bengaluru, यहाँ पे भी CH के बारे में उन्होंने मेंशन किया, ठीक है. So मैक्सिमम कंपनीज क्या मांग रही हैं आपसे? ये सर्टिफिकेशंस मांग रही हैं, एंड इनमें से जो सर्टिफिकेशन है दैट यू कैन अचीव इजीली इज CEH. ऑलराइट. सो अगर आप बात करते हो किसकी, इफ यू टॉक अबाउट CISSP इज अ डिफरेंट सर्टिफिकेशन, इट्स अ मैनेजरियल सर्टिफिकेशन इन साइबर सिक्योरिटी. ऑलराइट. Okay, and then you have Pentest Plus. All of these are technical certifications, but in reality, when you talk about white hat hacking, hacking is only 50% of your work. 50% of the remaining 50% of your work is about preparing reports. कि reports कैसे बनानी है, how to understand your non-disclosure agreement, किस तरीके से आपने contracts पढ़ने हैं, what is in scope, what is out of scope. So ऐसा नहीं है that if you have technical knowledge you are good to go. You need to have good communication and communication skills as well. You need to have good soft skills as well. So Pentest Plus is the only certification in the world जो आपको along with technical skills आपको ये सारे skills भी सिखा रही है. Okay, I have Pentest Plus. The exam is really good. Yes, it has multiple choice questions, but along with that you get 4 to 5 lab questions as well. Okay, you get 4 to 5 lab questions as well. Understood? So these are some of the certifications that you can take for cybersecurity and ethical hacking. So do you guys have any questions?
Do we need to learn Linux as prerequisite for this course?
For which one? CH or Pentest
C.
Plus? For
C.
CH? See, whenever I teach CH, I have a small section for Linux fundamentals. You don't need to be a pro at Linux. You don't need to have RHCSA. Just basic knowledge would help. Okay. So even if you have no knowledge of Linux, I'll talk about what Linux commands are, what are the most important commands, what are the directories inside Linux, what is the significance of those directories in cybersecurity. So obviously there are a lot of directories. Like if I go here, I write cd space / and ls. These are the main directories in Linux. Okay. So what is the significance of these directories? Well, these directories are used for a lot of purposes, but what is their importance with the work that we are going to perform, that we are going to study here? For like, if I'm a pen tester, how can bin directory help me? If I'm a pen tester, how can root directory help me? So I'm going to teach all of that in that course in CEH. Okay. So when I deliver CH, I take care of all of this. So even if you're a complete beginner, it's fine. You don't have to worry about it. Along with this, if you go to our YouTube channel, we have a section called Linux Fundamentals, which is, if you go through that 6-hour course, you're good to go. You don't need to do anything else.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Yeah. So I've got a question on YouTube. OSCP. Like I said, Sam, OSCP is a great certification. I never said that it's a bad certification. It's one of the best certifications in the world. But like I said, if you're a beginner, start with a certification that you can afford, and at the same time, you can pass easily as a beginner. If you have experience in the domain, if you have been working in the domain for 5 to 6 years now as a pen tester, then you can go ahead and take OSCP. That's not an issue. I'm talking about as a beginner, आपके लिए क्या क्या certifications अच्छी हैं. So hacking के लिए तो हमारे पास 4 से 5 इससे ज़्यादा भी certifications हैं. But जो अच्छी certifications हैं initially, that are Pentest Plus and CH Practical. Okay. So guys, that was all about today's session. If you have any questions, you could let me know. You could post them in the chat box, or you could talk to the support team. You could connect with our team and, ask them these questions. They'll connect you with me and we can surely have a chat. All right. So that's going to be all for this session. We'll meet in another session soon. Thank you. Bye-bye and